just about set for the start of the third quarter here in Miami as the Canes have the 14-point lead over number 22 Georgia Tech. Bob Wischusen, Bob Davie, and Samantha Steele here in South Florida. Going to be as laborious as that long 20-play drive they had in the second quarter.
That's why this drive's so important right here to start this second half.
And a great kickoff. Orwin Smith has to take a knee. Jake Whiteclaw sends it
this
deep.
time a week ago. They're kind of at the crossroads right here.
Dive up the middle for David Sims on the first play of the second half.
Special teams, no big deal, guys.
Well, Samantha, they run the option here. The pitch by Washington on time to Embry Peoples, but he's still about 2 yards shy of a first down.
Linebacker, but watch Spence again, just inside out on the ball. That's a playmaker right there.
Third down and 2. And Washington dives, and it looks as if Tevin Washington has the first down.
Number 5. Lined up in a little different position right here. Kind of right here in the slot position.
Washington barely got back to the line of scrimmage. Marcus Robinson was able to pull him down. It'll be second down and long.
3 catches in the last 4 games now.
17 total receptions on the season. Number 1 in the country in yards per catch. Tevin Washington underneath, way short of Roddy Jones. It'll be third down and 10.
You don't have to blitz, but you're right. Why rush that passer up the field if they've hurt you on screens?
Washington straight drop back. Floats one to the sideline, and he's on time to Orwin Smith. A first down catch made by one of those A-backs. Maybe the best. Again, the dive up the middle to David Sims. Now, the last time that we had Georgia Tech against North Carolina, it was almost all
Spence running out of there, taking that pitch so many times. You're trying to counteract his speed in the middle.
Washington about a yard shy of a first down. So you run the dive up the middle to try and impact
every fourth and manageable situation.
Georgia Tech is 7 for their last 7 on third down. Started the game 0 for 3. Third and 1. The toss to Smith. Orwin Smith has the first down and then some. Inside the 40.
East to west.
Sean Spence, 11 tackles per game, number 11 in the country. And there's the dive again to David Sims.
College football to really play the undersized linebackers. I mean, going back to Jimmy Johnson, taking those high school running backs and making them linebackers.
Counter handoff to Roddy Jones. And again, it will be third down, third and about 5. Down and 5 here. Washington will keep it, and he gets buried. Well, now there is a decision to make as Sean Spence came up and laid a lick on Tevin Washington. Now it's fourth down, but they ran the option on third and 5 now with the play clock winding down, fourth and a solid 3.5. They might not get it off. They did not. That'll be delay of game. Unless a timeout was called.
Yeah, he called timeout.
The officials signaled timeout, but there is a flag down.
Prior to the snap, prior to the play clock expiring, timeout, Georgia Tech.
The 4th and 4, you're a little out of your comfort zone on just true option. They've been running a lot of this little toss stuff out there. Well, he's going to throw it.
Washington straight drop back, floats one, well underthrown. He had Tyler Melton open towards the sideline at the 20-yard line, and he simply back to try to aim the football. So Miami back to the offense after turning it over on downs, and Ja'Cory Harris slips. So Samantha, it is a redshirt freshman, Malcolm Bunch, that's in at right tackle for Miami. And off to Lamar Miller. And Miller out across the 30 to about the 32-yard line or so, but it's going to be third down and 11 as Julian Burnett.
Keep your eye on Itachi, 45. The wide rusher to the top.
Here comes the blitz from Georgia Tech. Harris well protected. He'll take a shot for Benjamin. Travis Benjamin has it knocked away. Jamea Thomas downfield, and that was pure man-for-man coverage. And Thomas won the ball.
That was a tremendous job of Thomas not looking back to find a ball. You never look back to try to find the ball when the receiver has you beat. you close to the receiver and try to play and strip his hands. That was great technique of not looking back to the quarterback. Because as soon as you look back, the receiver gains another step on you.
Dalton Botts with a high kick.
You're not going to catch it this time.
You have to get a fair catch there, though. Plenty of time to get under the football. And Zach Lasky makes another mistake. Back up on the Dade Broward County line. And another mistake. Forced to start from inside their own 15-yard line. Bubble screen. Stephen Hill, first catch of the day. And Hill picks up a first down.
The U invented swagger. Think back, they really did back in their day now.
There's a blast up the middle for David Sims, as on the last play they marked Stephen Hill out about 6 inches shy. 146.
Think about
for some reason that
is unbelievable.
That
a
number sticks
Miami
out.
Hurricane for that many weeks in a row. Ohio State the last several years has put a lot in.
second down and 11. Counter handoff to Roddy Jones, and Jones to about the 33-yard line, maybe the 34. Jalen Grimble, a true freshman, 7. The Canes have the lead. And after the injury timeout, Georgia Tech, an offense that is third down and 12, and they need to hurry. Play clock down to 4. Washington flushed out of the pocket. And he will go down inside the 30 at about the 26-yard line. Anthony Chickillo gets his 3rd sack of the season, up to 3.5 total. Chickillo is a great story. He actually was raised to be a Hurricane. He is a 3rd-generation Miami Hurricane. His father, Nick, or his grandfather, Nick, was an All-American two-way lineman in 1952. His dad, Tony, was a nose tackle and ended up playing 3 years in the NFL. He had a pacifier in his mouth when he was a baby that had a Hurricane logo on it. Wobbly kick. Travis Benjamin calls for a fair catch. And he saves his team field position by making the fair catch at the Miami 34-yard line.
Very good defensive team. Alabama, I think, probably the most balanced team in the country. When you talk about just offense, defense, every phase.
Miami's offense back on the field. It's been a while. Lamar Miller trying to get to the edge, reverses field and lost a couple of yards. It's only the 7th play that Miami has run offensively in about the last hour and a half of real time. Play action for Ja'Cory Harris. Underneath, making a move and getting loose up the middle of the field is Philip Dorsett. He's got a first down and more. Into Georgia Tech territory, a gain of 19 yards for the true freshman from Fort Worth.
Obviously survived it. Now there's a boulevard named after him coming to this stadium. You know, Ja'Cory Harris has been through a lot.
Fumble as Ja'Cory Harris couldn't hand the center exchange. Marcus Forston out for the year with a knee injury, defensive lineman. It was a great recruiting class from that high school alone. Miller picked up a yard and a half. Now to be third
right here. See Itachi moving around up at the top.
They show blitz. Now rush only 4. Harris flushed out of the pocket. He'll try and run for it. A lot of grass out in front of Ja'Cory Harris. The Georgia Tech defense lost track of Ja'Cory Harris, and Al Grove very upset that Harris broke containment, picked up the first down.
Well, sometimes when you twist that defensive front, they had a little game up front. You're going to see as it goes, they're going to go ahead and twist front. Right there, you see the tackle twist. This kind of opens up a gap in there. And good presence by Ja'Cory Harris just to take off and run. Pretty easy right there for him.
They switch the bunch set from one side to the other, 1st and 10, and the toss to that side. Miller makes the first man miss. Can't get away, though. He lost about 4 yards. Lewis Young came up and dragged Lamar Miller out of bounds, and Miller's slow to get up.
They're going to have any chance to win this game to get a stop right here.
Well, a field goal might end the game for Miami on this drive, make it a 3-possession game. Harris play action. Wide open is Streeter. Down to the 16-yard line. And that will take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. Another big game for Tommy Streeter. A gain of 16 there.
Again, Al Groh brings that inside linebacker on a blitz. And there's a pretty big crevice in behind him in zone coverage.
Well, there's no question the Miami defense has done the job today. You mentioned it earlier, Coach. Sean Spence has probably been the defensive player of the game for either team. He has tracked down Tevin Washington all afternoon.